Hi there, it's Kevin with the Rogue Market here with an update video for the Double Master, specifically the VIP editions. Making this video as I have gotten new information from various sources that stores are beginning to cancel orders from distributors last minute as they get cold feet. Them and their customers are starting to get cold feet with the VIP edition booster packs, and I think it has more to do with the supply of these rather than anything. If you take a look here at the Double Masters numbers sold on eBay, remember, eBay is just one outlet that these are sold at. There are still like the MVP Sports and more that have many on their own side, or the Dave and Adams, or the Channel Fireball, Star City Games, Card Kingdoms. They also have a huge amount of numbers because, in my opinion, they probably have a direct line with Wizards that circumvents how distribution works through the typical local game store going through distributors. So this kind of gives us a baseline number of how many of these are out there. Now, if you look at these VIP packs of 4 being $335, if you actually divide those by 4, it's about $83.50 for a Double Masters Edition booster pack, individually. And look at the amount of that have been sold. So you got to times this number by 4. So 1,500 times by 4, 461 by 4. Then you have the individual sold, another 1,800 here from this big seller, and so on and so forth. You can start going down here and see a lot of these other ones that have been sold, at least the ones that have the numbers up right now. So the VIP supply I think is much higher than people first anticipated it. The rumor was that there is supply. Well, now it's confirmed. There has been some supply issues with Double Masters, and it seems to be more on the actual boxes. So the draft boxes is having, similar to what Jumpstart and the Planeswalker decks had with, I don't know if it's their Texas printer. It sounds actually like it's their Texas printer is overloaded and has been late on many of these products coming out. So they're only getting the supply in from the other printer, the Japanese printer. Now, it could be vice versa. Who knows exactly what it is. However, the VIP editions, though, do have their full supply. So it is rumored that there will be a second shipment of the first wave, at least, of the Double Masters booster boxes. But this is more directly on the VIP edition. We're talking about that the supply is way high for the VIP editions. And like I said, people are getting cold feet for this particular product. And it has to do a lot with more than just the supply, but also the demand. So if we actually look at the prices of some of these cards, now you have to take into account the ones that are spoiled a while back. You can't just say, oh, a new card in the last 24, 48 hours. They're going to have still high prices for the VIP version. But let's take a look at a few of these, like Blightsteel Colossus and Doubling Season, that have been out for a while on what they're going for on like TCG low. So look at the spread between like Exploration. So Exploration has a $54. This should be one of the most highly sought after border lists. So these are very, very rare as far as the border list is concerned. By the time you get into this, it's like the mythic rarity of it. Exploration, I would say, is probably the most sought after rare in this set. Is there one that's more sought after as far as how many times it sees play in Commander? Let's go ahead and just sort this by rare. And yeah, I guess you'd put like Cyclonic Rift and Exploration. I think both Mana Reflection and Stoneforge Mystic are going to come back down because I don't think they're going to be as highly sought after as either Cyclonic Rift or Exploration. So it's not giving these particular the higher end pieces a lot of where you'd think they'd be with the multiplier. I know you can say, okay, 55 is a lot higher than 18, but I mean, this is the rare. This is the highest sort of like topper rarity rare of Exploration, this alternate art version of the card. And this is one that's been dipping and dipping because this was one that was pre-selling for quite a bit, if I remember correctly. If we look at I wonder if Goldfish has the price history on the promo version of, they don't have it. Okay, they still have it for 85 is where it was. So it's coming out 90 and 85. So look how much it's dipped in just the past few days, all the way down from 85. In fact, the market price was 83 for this particular card, and now it's down to 55. And the product is still not in the hands of everyone that's going to be cracking these and selling these. So that's an incredibly bad sign for cards to come. If we actually look at some of these that have been out for even longer, there's Cyclonic Rift, $50 for the alternate of the Cyclonic Rift, which again, if we come back to Cyclonic Rift and see what the topper version was, it was going for 70 pre-sale. So 62 market price, 70 pre-sale, and we have it dipping down below 50 now, which I still think there is a lot of room to go. Now we have like Dark Confidant, the Joe Biden sniffing Dark Confidant. And Dark Confidant, we have to go back to Mythics for this one. Let's see what the Mythic version. So the regular version is going for 48. The Mythic version was pre-selling for 90 is what it has. And now, so that's already been half down to the 45 mark that it's going for on the TCG player. So, or I guess it's 52, not 45 quite yet. If we continue down this list, we can see Noble Hierarch 2. The spread is going to be this another one that had the pre-sale price of Noble Hierarchs at the 50, so 57, and it has fallen down to 46 on the low here. 8 copies of this Yeti game. This is expected to open. Looks like they put 4 to 8 on most of these cards. They're expected to open. Mind you, there are some people that do have these in hand right now. Another bungle by Wizards of the Coast that they haven't even spoiled the full set yet, and people are already cracking this. But you can see, I think Lightning Greaves would be one that would be sought after quite a bit too, down to 47. Chrome Mox Normals down to 43. What is Chrome Mox saying that it was going for on, let's go back to Mythics, because that was one that was actually selling for quite a bit when it was first out the gates. I guess it was 53 or $50, and so that's fallen down in price. And yeah, just continuing down this list, a lot of these cards are definitely not holding up to the scrutiny. I think that's why people are getting cold feet, mainly when looking at these prices and then trying to sell it, and then realizing it's going to be very tough to break even on these particular cards. So, they chose targets they thought with these full arts would have a high chance of being worth a lot, like Expedition Map. It's a 4 of, and a lot of decks. A lot of commander decks actually use Expedition Map. If you're not using Expedition Map in a commander deck where you have a utility land, it's easily just a throw in. You can just chuck it literally in any deck, and it'd be a viable card to put in that deck. But the most worrying sign is like Doubling Season. Doubling Season versions have a very, very low spread. Blightsteel are really falling too, both of these. And it just makes the VIPs look less and less profitable. I'd be interested once the dust settles about when people actually know like the runs of the VIPs, what the expected value of VIPs are. But obviously, eBay doesn't really have a good feeling about where these are going to go. That's why Sports and More has just blown them out at $84.99. To give you just a real talk about how this is. So local game stores are getting these anywhere between high 60s to high 70s. So that's been my price in the distributor range. Is the most expensive distributor that I bought this from ended up being $78 after fees. The lowest one was about, I think, it was low 70s for me. I know that my store is incredibly small. My volume is incredibly small, so I don't get the best deals that some of these larger stores do. However, just your average game store, that's why you're seeing cancellations, is they're trying to make sense of how they're going to be able to sell these when eBay is selling them. If you buy them in an actual box, sealed box of Double Master VIPs, you can get it for $83.50 with free shipping. So when they're trying to compete and they're buying them for $78 a piece, and then trying to decide if they can actually be profitable on this, they decide they can't. Now, brick and mortars have a different set of rules you have to go by than your online sellers, meaning that you need to get as high as margins possible because all of your products actually compete with each other. There is a finite amount of money that you're going to be able to squeeze out of your locals. So you want to try to stay within those 40% to 50% markups. That way that you can still pay your overhead and your employee. When you have to blow up product for, in this case, you're looking at like a 10% markup, you're maybe looking to get $6 out of Double Masters if you're going to try to compete with the eBay. So yeah, it's even less than a 10% markup. That's not going to be able to cover your overhead, and you're just going to be actually competing with other products. So your customers would be coming in with $85, and if they would have spent it on $85 worth of, let's say, singles or board games, you would actually have a better ability to pay your overhead and your employees. You'd have an actual better net profit than if they came in and you made $6 off their $85 purchase for Double Masters. At that point, taxes are making more of a margin than you are with the Double Masters. So that's why we're starting to see some cold feet with the VIP editions. I'm expecting more stores with cancellations and whatnot. not for this particular product, as the supply just seems absolutely horrendous for the VIP edition. I think that they need to really limit the supply of these particular cards. If you actually look back at Ultimate Masters with the box toppers, see if I can actually find where they put the box toppers here on, there we go. So box toppers, this is just one per, box. It was a box topper, and boy, did the mighty fall from this particular, like these ones had like obscene prices when they were first spoiled, where they came out the gates of like $300, and Demonic Tutor went all the way down to 90, so it lost a third of its value because people thought the supply. In fact, box toppers were one of the reasons why people were so bullish on Ultimate Masters, because at the time you could open up your box topper, that could be your profit margin, then you could just blow out the booster boxes, and it'd be, or the opposite, you could actually blow out the box topper. I think box toppers were selling on average at that time for almost like even $100, and then you could basically just crack the Ultimate Masters, and then easily break even at that point because it added so much value to the booster box. But you can see most of these have had such a tough time holding their value. Liliana the Veil is now the most expensive box topper, and that one also saw a huge decrease, and it still hasn't gone down. So it's gone down from $300, was quite stable for a long period of time, from $300 to $200. Why I'm trying to make a comparison between box toppers and these VIP editions is I'm thinking these VIP editions have way more supply. I mean, it's pretty easy for you to do a mathematical equation for if you could get the whole run of double masters, and then how many box toppers are there here. So there are 40 total box toppers. So they have a 1 in 40 chance of being opened in a booster box. So you have to divide for each particular card. The supply of this card is 1 per 40. So I'd be interesting to know how the rates of how you open a particular card from VIP are going to turn out, and then be able to divide that by how many VIP packs are out there and see the supply of the VIP. And I think that any individual card is going to be much higher than these Ultimate Masters box toppers. Could be wrong. Maybe this 1 out of 40, is a higher rate and it isn't that special. I think someone actually did the math with, so as far as any particular mythic showing up in a booster box, that it was higher supply than your box topper, but I don't believe like the normal foil versions. I believe that there's less supply of the normal, not box topper foil versions from Ultimate Masters for Mythics than there were for the box topper Mythics versions. But I'll have to check into those numbers to see if that's correct or not. But yeah, even things that had the highest supply. So what's the most worth card out of Ultimate Masters? I believe it is Caverns of Souls. So Caverns of Souls is the most expensive. Regular card of Ultimate Masters is 75. So the foil multiplier for this sucker also. It's recovered back to 200, so the foil multiplier is actually not terrible, or at least the box topper multiplier for Caverns of Souls, but this is the high demand card for this particular card. There are some of them that just don't even have really any multiplier at all, that they're going for pretty close to where they were. At least they're still coming back down for these particular cards. So yeah, I'm definitely bearish on the VIP packs for holding their value long-term for these specialty cards. Once again, I'll reiterate, when you make everything special, then nothing becomes special. Box toppers were the first of their type. Remember, this is the first time they tried something like this when these Ultimate Masters box toppers came out. Then they started just throwing them not only in collector's booster boxes, but you have the chance of opening, like, I believe it was the Planeswalkers you could get as the full art in War of the Spark? Correct me if I'm wrong. Were those the first time they really, or was it? No. So it would have been Throne. So Throne, you'd have the chance of getting Oko full art. Like, it was just the Planeswalkers you could get the kind of the full art, extended art in regular booster boxes. Someone correct me in the comment section if I'm wrong. But anyway, the supply of like collector's edition ended up being higher than everyone thought. The supply of every set from then on out with these specialty cards has been higher than we thought. And it's the multipliers of these particular things are just going to continue to go down. There might be some exceptions, whether an art really hits it. Like, people are talking about how they just love the Avacyn artwork, and that's why the Avacyn has like a super high price. I believe Avacyn was pre-selling for $200, if I remember correctly. Going back here with, so Avacyn has a huge multiplier. Market price shows you a different idea though. So last ones have sold for $150. So these people putting these up for $209 are being pretty idealistic of what they could actually sell this for. yeah, it does give you like a better sense of where they're selling for. So again, I think this is the reasoning for it. Makes sense to me with VIPs. I just be very, very careful about these. I know a lot of people think that they want to keep them sealed. That was kind of the idea for Ikoria for the collector's boosters. But now, lo and behold, we're getting this sleeved sealed Ikoria, the ones that are at Walmart, that are being now dumped back on the local game store. And we're seeing Ikoria collector's boosters drop in value. Let's go ahead and check that really quickly with Ikoria collectors, see where it's at. So the booster box is you can find them for about $240, which, yeah, these were trending at $275 for quite a bit for this particular one. Okay, let's go back to eBay and see where they're going for collectors. With collector's edition Ikoria, yep, $240 does seem to be a little bit higher on eBay than TCG Player for where they're going for collector's edition Ikoria. But I do think these are going to go down because this is what I'm talking about. These sealed blister packs, these are getting flooded back into the market. So they took them off of Walmart and Target shelves because of mispricing and theft. And so what people were doing is they were saying that they're going up to the cashier and saying, hey, oh no, look, this is the same product as this. How come it's coming up as wrong? And then the cashier would price match it, and they'd get an Ikoria booster pack for the same amount that it would be for a regular Ikoria pack, is how it would work. So that's been what I've told, is then they've ripped them off the shelves because now it's unprofitable with the theft and stuff like that, and they've gone to their other distribution lines, which is local game stores. So distributors picked up boxes, cases and cases of these blisters, which we could actually see the same thing with VIP, because if I remember correctly, these will be in Walmart, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, Double Master VIP, I believe they said that this would be in big box stores for sale. So we could see something like that with like a little backlash or whiplash of when those become a failed product at the Walmarts, and then get, 3 months from now are available again from local game stores when we get that sort of supply back in. Who knows? A lot of things like that are definitely going to affect the prices of these cards. And I'm not like, people are getting the wrong idea of what I think about 2XM. I think 2XM is very similar to Ultimate Masters. Ultimate Masters, I was not critical of the set. Go back and watch the videos and prove me wrong. I wasn't critical about the contents of the set. I was critical about the supply and the direction of these master sets, just throwing all caution to the wind and just printing everything possible with that was valuable, and then expecting them to hold prices. You can't. All roads lead to Rome, and in this case, Rome is just the distributor price of the product. So all the products that are contained, all of the cards that are contained in the product will have to come back down. The value of VIPs will most likely, I'll be very surprised if it actually does equal more than the $75 distributor price. And if people are expecting these sort of things to be a long-term investment, I highly, highly caution you. I'd look for other products, because if Ultimate Masters has taught us anything, it's that this is the set that everyone thought was the sure deal. It was just the knockout of the park, that there's no way they could lose. And we saw Ultimate Masters, finally people giving up their stock of Ultimate Masters after stubbornly holding on to it. About March was when we saw Ultimate Masters, as far as sealed boxes, reach about $320 on eBay. I don't know where they're at this point with eBay. We can do a quick check about Ultimate Masters. But if people bought in at that $300 price tag, which is what it was going for at the release of Ultimate Masters, they didn't make money. And it's made like $350 at $319. So Ultimate Masters factor without Topper's $319, with Topper $340. So yeah, it still hasn't really moved even from March, about that low $340. So that's not a good return on investment, in my opinion. Unless you could, get someone to pay $500 with the box, then you make a decent one. But if you remember correctly, of Ultimate Masters, it was very, very tough to find these from outlets for less than like that $325, $300 mark. And now that's been a product that has existed its entire shelf life, that has now been outclassed by 2XM. So if people are saying, okay, 2XM, we're just going to... And remember, now after Ultimate Masters, they said this is the last master set. Liars! It wasn't the last master set. They turned around and immediately started trying to develop another master set. So whatever Wizards of the Coast says about 2XM, if it's something that actually it has this sort of paradox, as far as if it does if it is a success will bring its own failure. I think that's what happened with Ultimate Masters. Ultimate Masters was just so successful, and it looked to be such a good product that they were like, yay, we got to do another one of these with Double Masters. So either way, it's a lose-lose scenario. Either Double Masters ends up being a dumpster fire and people just lose their shirts on it, or it ends up being mildly successful and Wizards of the Coast is like, all right, let's start designing Triple Masters. And by the time Double Masters would have accrued any sort of value, then we get Triple Masters dropped on us. I'm expecting Ultimate Masters to actually decline in price just because there's too much overlap with the reprint of cards. I mean, look even at the box art here. Vengevine, Karn. Both of those are being reprinted in Double Masters, Vengevine and Karn. I don't think that Ultimate Masters is going to fare well after this is going to, I think that this is going to even become more competitive as less people actually want Ultimate Masters, as it probably will start to lose even more of this value. Like, look at the box toppers. They're still at their all-time low right now with collectively of, well, a little bit. They recovered a little bit from when everything across the board recovered due to, lack of supply and a little bit of inflation from, the printing of trillions of dollars. So, yeah, that's where I'm coming from with this Double Masters. Yes, the contents are great. Hell, they could throw fetch lands and things like Black Lotuses in the mix, and it's supply, and the supply is just too high to justify these prices for the 2XM. Be safe out there. I would not be paying anything above distributor price for Double Masters. I think that we're going to start to see people just try to recoup their value on these particular products, as the outlook of this is not going to be something that's going to outdo something like Ultimate Masters. So, yeah, that's my 2 cents for whatever it's worth. Feel free to flame me. I'm loving the comments in the comment section that tell me how wrong I am about stuff. We'll see you in 6 months to a year. This has been Kevin with The Rogue Market. Thanks for watching.